Hello, marhaba. Thank you for joining the podcast by Chalhoub Group. My name is Lynn Al-Khatib. I'm the VP of Communication, and I'm your host. Here's this. Last year alone, the global sales of electric vehicles soared to 17 million units globally, and that's a 25% increase from the previous year. In Dubai, the commitment to green mobility is also evident, and the sales of electric vehicles has increased from 15,000 to close to 30,000 in 2024. And not only that, the city is committed to increasing the charging pods for the vehicles from 370 in 2023 to 1,000 in 2025. Now, why am I saying all of this? Of course, because I have a very special guest. Today, we have with us Kevin Chalhoub. He's the founder of EV Lab, and he's heading Tumi brand at Chalhoub Group. In his capacity, he could practice his passion for sustainability, driving the family philanthropy, but also running his business that makes a difference. He's a passionate believer of having high-end luxury experiences that are also good for the planet. So welcome, Kevin. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks for having me.
You just told me when we were having our conversation that you had a master's at Stanford in atmosphere and energy. I don't think that's a usual degree for the younger generation who are watching the podcast. What is this passion about, and what does it mean to study that?
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming increasingly common in the next generation. And it's very, very exciting. It's true that there's a lot of jobs being created in the sector. Honestly, it's just a passion for sustainable solutions, and that's what drove me to study that, to start EV Lab, and also to join a brand that keeps sustainability, and it's in the core of its ethos at Chalhoub Group, Tumi.
Indeed, and I think that we have all Chalhoub family who are super passionate about sustainability, with Patrick himself continuing to champion this and driving our group forward. What I would like to highlight is EV Lab specifically, because I know this was a passion project of yours, but also a dedication that you continue. Tell us a bit more about EV Lab. Where do you operate, and what is your purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. We're a retail as a service model. We opened at World Trade Center, and the office is one. If you have a chance, I really encourage you to visit. Retail as a service. We had a concept like this in the group as well called Beta, and there's quite a few in London as well and other places around the world. It's a model where we're not incentivized to sell, but promote the products. And what we do is ease test drives for customers of different brands if they want to try electric cars. And then we can also lease if anyone wants to lease long-term electric cars or rent. So we have a small fleet of cars that we rent out as well, and growing. So if you want to buy, lease, or rent a car, in the end, you can come to EV Lab to just learn more about it and see which one is the best option for you.
That's great. I mean, if you look at it from a context of, we have a business and cars, it could be very straightforward. But what I think is behind this is the commitment, where you started where there weren't many EV cars or electric vehicles in Dubai, with this commitment that the awareness will come, that this is important for the future, maybe not today. So tell me more about your interactions with your clientele. Are you getting more people interested in it? And where do you see it going in the future?
Yeah, I mean, our clients ask a lot of questions around four main sectors usually. Is this charging infrastructure ready? Can we charge? How fast does it take to charge? So charging, is it really sustainable, better for the environment? And the answer is yes. How much renewable energy is on the grid will determine how sustainable. We also get a lot of questions around a range of specific products, about performance, acceleration. So those are the four category of questions a lot of consumer ask around for electric cars, and the four our eVisor team is trained to answer.
That's amazing. I also read that some of the barriers are the fear of the category, but also that we have a vast amount of desert roads here. So that may be some of the barriers that keep people away. So how would you encourage people to shift or approach EV from your perspective?
Yeah, actually, one year I think the best sold car in the market was the Nissan Patrol, followed by the Tesla Model 3. Some of the off-roading capable electric cars are becoming more and more trendy. There's a brand in the US called Rivian, for example, where they actually have a camping solution within the car, so you can get it out and get out your kitchen and cook and have an outdoorsy event while camping, while going out. So the electric car industry is definitely embracing the outdoors usage of cars and the desert ethos. And so I think there's a use for it more and more here. And of course, other than off-roading, there's the whole sustainability aspect. You mentioned earlier our whole family is interested in electric cars. That's true for so many families, because it's really what it is sustainability is about the next generation, right? We're always thinking ahead for the next generation, for the children. What do we want to do? In my case, I don't have children. I have my nephew. We're always thinking, I tend to say I'm part of the generation that grew up with sustainability being an issue, and we're hopefully all here to solve it. And that's why you're seeing more and more people interested in studying renewable energy, clean tech, and providing some of those solutions to hopefully scale more and more.
Yes, we all hope so. And maybe we can say sustainability from an issue to an opportunity for the future, because we're optimistic about the future. I know my son is asking me for what is it called, like to upgrade his bicycle to an e-bike, and that's a no. So when it comes from a regular bicycle to that, no, I think not. But maybe to EV from a regular exhaust engine, a better solution.
Maybe one day, yeah. Safety is definitely primary, but helmets, everything that goes along are so important. But we do have e-bikes, and definitely safety first. So
definitely, and especially with the roads, I think the roads are getting much better for cyclists, and we still have a lot to go. So
I still don't recommend using it in Sheikh Zayed, but if you enjoy a beach drive, you can always have cycling paths on beach road, which are nice. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'll be more flexible. Before we move on with discussing your beliefs on sustainability and the work that you are highly active in when it comes to philanthropy, you did mention the origin of EV Lab. It started within an incubator. A lot of entrepreneurs listen to the podcast, so maybe share with them some of your early days, how it started, what were your challenges, and how did you keep going?
Yeah, definitely. We started in our own incubator at Greenhouse with the help of our team that's there, that were also on the podcast, I believe, Joanne and Rafi. They were very supportive, and it's very nice to see how far the concept's gone since. And we started with that idea, tested a few business models, and now really thought through what were the best solutions for the customers, and came out with a full-fledged solution and a full experience center. So we're happy to have followed that process, and excited. We also excited to know that these entrepreneurship initiatives work. I'm also a big supporter of entrepreneurship, and I love everything that's going on in the Greenhouse.
Definitely a great success story: entrepreneurship, sustainability, and tech. So tell me a bit more where you see the innovation and tech and the role they play in sustainable future.
Yeah, I mean, electric cars themselves are very forward-looking, tech-driven. If you visit our showroom, you'll see a few brands you probably never heard of before, but they're really, really technologically advanced, like Hi-Fi, who can put on a show literally for you in the showroom. Neo, that would have your AI assistant you basically don't need to press any more buttons on the car. You just speak to the car and it'll roll down the windows, put on the AC, put on the massage chairs if you'd like. So it's really nice to see there's a lot of innovation. I truly believe that people won't buy EVs if they're not better products. And today I really, really believe that EVs are better products and better for the environment. And so that's, since there are both reasons, I don't think there's much more for combustion engine. Norway, you mentioned some of the stats of our market, but Norway has impressive stats. 95% of newly bought electric cars are electric. So it's growing at a crazy pace. And that's the pace at which these disruptions will and are happening. They happen in every industry. I'm not going to mention, we talk a little bit about lab-grown diamonds or others. I'm not going to mention many, but sometimes it's also better to bet with the disruptor than the incumbent. And that's what we're doing with EV Lab as well, and for the good reasons, sustainability.
Yes, I think that just being more sustainable, and we know from our research, we've published previously some circularity reports on the region. And while people say that they would, let's say, pay more for a sustainable product, or they prefer to choose when it comes to real action, they're still not going for it. And I think we have a long way to go to enhance the knowledge, the education, and the trust in these. But I think tech, as you said, definitely is a way to go. So it's sustainable and super advanced, great experience and high end.
It's funny you mentioned that. That's also why we called it EV Lab, right? Because there's always this experiential feel when you're trying something new. You want to experience it first. You're not sure. And hopefully after your few minutes at EV Lab, you'll be a bit more convinced that, that's the right purchase for you. So we wanted to keep this lab experiential element to it, and hence the name.
And when I was interviewing Andrew, actually, as well, we talked about some of the EVs that we have for our supply chain team and deliveries. So using these technologies as well is nice and important for small incubation and projects as such, but it's also, you can scale it up for companies to make a difference in our net zero commitment. Kevin, I know that you were super active during Expo Days. You love sustainability. You were with some of our brands supporting and the family, and that's how I always say it, is the family has always been super philanthropic from the get-go. And as we grow as an organization, we have now a very solid ESG strategy at the core of the business. And the family philanthropy remains as well part of this, part and parcel of this, and the actions that we do and the volunteering that the employees do. So I would just like to maybe ask you how you approach philanthropy as a family, and how does this kind of feed the purpose of the group? And when the employees volunteer, I know this podcast isn't external, but it's also internal. So it would be great maybe to give the framework for the family philanthropy.
Yeah, with pleasure. First, you mentioned Expo. I was one of those guys that actually went to every pavilion or tried to go to every
Did
pavilion
you fill your passport?
and see, yes, 100%, and see all the innovations that were coming from different countries and stuff. So yeah, it's true. It's a very, very passionate.
We're super privileged to have Expo here. Actually,
and it was one of the best, or at least the most countries that gathered. So it's nice to see that the UAE kept such a good relationship with so many countries as well. I know there's Osaka Expo, that's a very exciting one too, I heard, but privileged that it happened here. In terms of family philanthropy, we organize the philanthropy in 3 sectors. Of course, the human element is the most important in the philanthropy, so it's about health and humanitarian action, about education, and about planet. And generally, these 3 cover a lot of topics the family care about, which is anything from cancer, aid. My belated uncle passed away from cancer. So it's something that also we all care about a lot. We're hoping someday there will be some solutions to these horrible diseases. Yeah. From that to a lot of humanitarian work, we're very focused in the Near East, especially where our family business is present. We're not as privileged as the GCC, and of course there's been so many conflicts in some of those areas, so we do want to serve a lot of the underprivileged communities, especially all those families that are impacted by war. So this is another big segment for our humanitarian efforts. And then we have the education part, where we're supporting schools for refugees. I visited one in Lebanon for kids under 12 years old, for Syrian refugees. It's very, very emotional to also see these kids growing up in these refugee camps, but thankful we can support them. Sustainability. And it honestly, it is a team activity. It's not something we can do alone. It's all about the actions. It's not really about the money you put in or this or that. It's really about what actions you're taking to support these communities, and the more the merrier. So I really enjoy each time I go out on the ground and see the teams. They're more active than me. My agenda is just all over the place. Each time I can, I connect with Florence to try to join the sustainability initiatives and some of the philanthropic initiatives, but
it's very beautiful, to be honest, to see that. While a lot of corporates or companies say that, okay, philanthropy is not really the sustainability strategy, where at the core of the business you have to work on your operations and scopes 1 and 2 and so on. But I think the journey, and being a family company, which is also a large organization, to have both equally strong, a core business strategy with net zero commitments, with all the measures in place and GRI reporting, keeping the philanthropy as well, where employees volunteer and contribute. I think it's really beautiful to see that. So thank you, Kevin, and thank you for this beautiful passion that you have. You know that, and on this occasion, I think maybe some of our listeners have seen or read that this year is our 70th anniversary. So maybe we give them a bit of a journey in time and explain the journey of the group, since we have you and you're part of the family. So started in Damascus, Syria, with a Christophe shop, a small shop. That was the start of our group. But how do you tell the story of the group?
Great question. I mean, to your first point, I mean, it's great to do both. I would say philanthropy and impact investing, I call it, because on the one hand, it's fulfilling to be able to give, but it's also good to be able to invest in the next generation of solutions for climate action. And that's what we're trying to do also with EV Lab, to be part of the disruption, to really help solve some of the transportation emissions that are present. Concerning the family story, I mean, it's a very emotional one for me. First, I've never been to Syria, actually. For those that know me, I'm an avid traveler. I've been to over 100 countries, and Syria, my home country, my two grandmas are born there, and my grandpa and father are born in Damascus. My two grandmas are from Aleppo. Never been there. Hopefully someday. But it started with our Christophe store, 20 to 30 square meters in Damascus, Syria, with my grandparents and grandma opening it. My grandpa was a bit of a rebel. His dad was a lawyer. He wanted him to actually become a lawyer, and he didn't agree. I was very in love with Widad. She was 19 when they married, and I'm not sure his dad was the he was a very boundaried, from what I hear, Maître Antoine in Syria. I never met him, but he was a very boundaried person. It was a very cute love story from the age of 19. My grandma supported my grandpa in his career. He first chose to work at Omega, actually, and then opened the store of Christophe. They relocated when my dad was 5 years old to Lebanon. There were some nationalization of certain businesses in Syria. It was a bit complicated to operate. And then I also like to say my mom's story, who was in Cairo. She was born there at 7 years. She also moved to Lebanon. My parents didn't meet in Lebanon. They both went through very parallel journeys. At 16 years old, my mom and my dad was 18 when the Civil War broke out. They moved back to France. Their parents moved to Kuwait, both of them. And then after studying in France, they both moved to Kuwait and met there. My mom was working at Air France, the travel agency. Sorry, I'm going for the long version.
Well, that's a beautiful version from deep inside the family.
Yep, and met my dad, who was working in the family business. Of course, we had started opening some of the luxury stores here. Actually, my dad was complaining about an event they were trying to organize from some people coming to Paris. One of the few times he complains, for those that know him well.
And then he met Inji.
And then he met Inji, and they talked about anything but work.
That's beautiful.
And then during the civil war in Iraq, after my brother was born, they moved to Paris for a bit, and then saw in Dubai the vision and potential to grow. They divided and conquered in terms of territory. My uncle and grandpa stayed in Kuwait. It was where the core of the business was. They stayed close to the employees. They could not see themselves leave, and they were right to do so. And we kept a lot of those values in our business. And my father moved to Dubai, where there was a lot of potential for innovation. No one thought Dubai would become what it is in such a short time, and we're really blessed to have grown up here. I'm blessed to be born and raised here. I mean, the rest is history. And
the rest is history.
Yeah.
I think from our founders who were visionary to also your dad and your late uncle, I think the vision of seeing things that aren't so obvious and believing in the region was core to the group. Well, that was a great angle that I don't think is on our website anywhere. But hey, if you want to know more about our group, you can then look at the more official things on our social media and websites. But here you got all the real story from Kevin Chalhoub. Thank you so much for joining. This was such a beautiful, heartwarming podcast. Not our usual day-to-day business, but always a pleasure to speak with you and to see your passion. And good luck for the future.
Thanks, Lynn. Always nice to talk about climate action and the next generation. Don't forget. It's always about the next generation.
Trust me, I'm raising them. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for watching. Give us your feedback. Tell us what you'd like to hear next. And until next time, bye.